Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when you feel unseen, unheard, and maybe even forgotten. You wonder if anyone truly understands what you're going through, if anyone sees the struggles that keep you up at night. But the truth is, there is one who sees every moment of your life, your highs, your lows, your victories, and your silent battles. God's unseen presence is one of the most powerful and comforting realities of our lives. We often move through life unaware of just how closely He watches over us, how intimately He is involved in our daily experiences. There are times when we may feel abandoned, times when silence fills the spaces where we expected to hear His voice. Yet even in those moments, He is right there. In the Bible, we are said that He will never lead nor forsake His people. This isn't just a poetic phrase, it's a divine reality. Think about the air around you. You don't see it, you don't always feel it, but the moment it is taken away, you realize how vital it is. That is how God's presence works. You may not always perceive Him with your natural senses, but He surrounds you completely. He watches when you rise in the morning, when you walk through your daily routine, and even when you lay your head down at night. Nothing escapes His sight. In the Bible, we are said that He watches over our coming and going, that He is a shield around us. There is a reason why we long to be seen, to be known, to be understood. Deep within us, we are wired to crave connection. We want someone to notice our struggles, to recognize our victories, to validate our existence. And yet, too often, we look for that validation in people who are limited, distracted, and imperfect. But there is one who sees us perfectly. There is one whose eyes never grow weary, whose attention never shifts away. Consider a shepherd watching over his flock. He doesn't just see a group of sheep moving together. He knows each one individually. He knows which one tends to wander, which one is weaker, which one needs special care. In the same way, God doesn't just see a mass of people. He sees you. He sees your joys, your tears, your private struggles that you haven't even spoken out loud. He sees the moments when you feel unnoticed by the world, the times when you wonder if anyone truly understands what you're going through. Even before you were formed, He saw you. Before a single day of your life began, He had already counted them. There is not a single moment of your existence that is hidden from Him. In the Bible, we are said that even before a word is on our tongue, He knows it completely. What an incredible thought. That before you even express your fears, before you whisper your prayers, before you shed a single tear, He has already seen, already understood, already prepared a way through. And when you walk through seasons of uncertainty, when you feel like you are wandering without direction, He is still watching. Not from a distance, not with a passive gaze, but with an active, loving, guiding presence. You are never unnoticed. You are never overlooked. You are never alone. There is a depth to God's awareness that goes far beyond anything we can comprehend. He does not simply observe us from a distance, nor does He only take notice of the major events in our lives. He knows the details, the small moments, the thoughts we never voice, and the emotions we struggle to understand ourselves. In the Bible, we are said that before we were even formed, He knew us, and before a single word escapes our lips, He already understands it completely. That kind of knowledge is beyond human understanding. It is not just awareness. It is an intimate personal connection that only a loving Creator could have with His creation. Think about how often people misunderstand each other. We say one thing, but someone hears another. We struggle to explain our emotions, and even those closest to us may not fully grasp what we mean. Yet, God never misinterprets us. He never needs an explanation because He already knows. He sees the hidden anxieties that keep us awake at night, the unspoken hopes we hold in our hearts, and the silent prayers we whisper when no one else is around. He knows not only what we say, but what we truly mean, even when our words fail us. Imagine standing in a crowded room, surrounded by noise and activity. Even in the midst of so many people, God's eyes are locked on you. His attention is never divided, never distracted, never pulled away by something more important. In the Bible, we are said that even the very hairs on our head are numbered. That means His awareness of us is not general, it is detailed, specific, and intentional. There is nothing about you that escapes His notice. There are moments in life when we feel unseen, unheard, or overlooked. Perhaps you have gone through seasons where it felt like no one truly noticed the weight you were carrying. Maybe you have walked through struggles that you didn't know how to share with anyone else. But even when the world fails to see you, He never does. Even when you feel invisible to those around you, you are fully known by Him. There is something deeply reassuring about knowing that we do not have to explain ourselves to be understood by God. When we feel lost, He already knows the way forward. When we are confused, He already sees the bigger picture. In the Bible, we are said that His ways are higher than ours, His thoughts beyond our own. That means that even when we don't understand what's happening, He does. Nothing catches Him by surprise. Nothing about our past, present, or future is unknown to Him. And if He already knows our needs, our struggles, our deepest desires, then we can trust Him completely. We don't have to strive to be seen, to be heard, or to be understood. We already are, more than we can even imagine. There is never a moment when you are unguarded. Even when you are unaware, God is watching over you, protecting you from dangers seen and unseen. Life is full of uncertainties, and there are countless situations where things could have gone wrong, yet somehow you made it through. That is not luck, coincidence, or mere chance. That is divine protection. In the Bible, we are said that He will command His angels concerning us to guard us in all our ways. That means there is a shield around you, a divine presence ensuring that you are covered even in the moments you least expect it. Think of all the times you were delayed from going somewhere and later realized that delay kept you from something harmful. Think about the close calls, the times when you should have been in a worse situation but weren't. Those are not accidents. Those are moments when God was watching over you, orchestrating events to keep you safe. In the Bible, we are said that He is our refuge and fortress, our ever-present help in times of trouble. That means no matter what happens, no matter what uncertainties life brings, there is nothing that can reach you without passing through His hands first. There are dangers we can see, and then there are those we are completely unaware of. A child walking toward a busy road has no idea of the risk ahead, but a loving parent sees the danger and steps in to pull them back before they reach it. In the same way, there are countless times when we were walking toward something that could have harmed us, and God, in His wisdom and love, redirected our path. We may have been frustrated at the moment, thinking things didn't go as planned, but later we realized He was protecting us from something we never even knew was there. His protection does not mean we will never face challenges, but it does mean we will never face them alone. It does not mean we will never go through storms, but it does mean He will be with us in the midst of them. In the Bible, we are said that though we walk through fire, we will not be burned, and though we go through deep waters, we will not be overwhelmed. That is the kind of security we have in Him. Even in the hardest moments, even in the struggles we never expected, He is still shielding us, still carrying us, still making a way. There are battles we fight that we don't even realize have already been won because He was fighting for us long before we knew there was a war. There are situations where we could have been broken, but He stood in the gap and held us together. In the Bible, we are said that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. That means the attacks may come, but they will not destroy us. The storms may rise, but they will not consume us. His protection is constant, unwavering, and far greater than we can even imagine. Living with the awareness that God sees everything calls us to a higher standard. It reminds us that our actions, words, and even our thoughts are never hidden from Him. There is no moment when we are truly alone, no place where we can step outside of His gaze. That realization is not meant to bring fear, but to awaken us to a life of integrity and obedience. In the Bible, we are said that nothing in all creation is hidden from His sight, but everything is uncovered before Him. That means our private moments are just as visible to Him as the ones we live in front of others. Many people live differently depending on who is watching. When we know we are being observed, we choose our words more carefully, act with more patience, and make more thoughtful decisions. But when we think no one is looking, it's easy to lower our standards, to let our character slip, to make choices we wouldn't want others to see. Yet even when no human eyes are on us, God is. His presence is not just in the church, not just in moments of worship, but in every detail of our lives. In the Bible, we are said that His eyes roam throughout the earth, searching for those whose hearts are fully committed to Him. That means He is not watching to condemn, but to strengthen and guide those who choose to walk in His ways. Integrity is not about public performance. It's about who we truly are when no one else is around. It's about choosing honesty even when a lie would be easier, about showing kindness even when no one will give us credit for it, about resisting temptation even when we could get away with it. When we live with the awareness that God is always watching, we begin to make choices not just based on what others will think, but based on what honors Him. In the Bible, we are said that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. That doesn't mean living in terror of His judgment, but having a deep respect and reverence that shapes the way we live. There is also comfort in knowing that He sees everything. The good we do that no one acknowledges, the sacrifices we make that go unnoticed, the moments we choose righteousness when it would be easier to compromise, none of it is forgotten. In the Bible, we are said that He is a rewarder of those who diligently seek Him. That means nothing done for Him is ever wasted. No act of obedience goes unseen, and no effort to live faithfully is overlooked. Living with the awareness of His watchful presence doesn't mean striving to be perfect, but rather striving to be faithful. It's about aligning our hearts with His, about walking in the light even when no one is watching, about knowing that at the end of the day, the only opinion that truly matters is His. And when we live that way, we walk with confidence, knowing that He sees, He knows, and He is pleased with those who seek to follow Him. God's watchfulness is not just about judgment or correction. It is rooted in His unshakable love and grace. He watches over us not as a distant observer, but as a loving Father who cares deeply about every detail of our lives. His attention is not the gaze of a harsh critic waiting for us to fail. It is the tender watchfulness of one who desires our good, who delights in seeing us thrive, who extends grace even when we fall short. In the Bible, we are said that His love is everlasting, that His mercies are new every morning. That means no matter how many times we stumble, His grace meets us again and again, offering a fresh start. There is no love in this world that compares to the love He has for us. Human love is often conditional, based on what we do, how we behave, or what we can offer. But God's love is different. It does not waver with our mistakes, nor does it depend on our performance. He sees us at our worst and still loves us fully. He sees the thoughts we are ashamed of, the struggles we try to hide, the moments of doubt we don't dare speak out loud, and yet His love does not change. In the Bible, we are said that while we were still sinners, He demonstrated His love by offering us salvation. That means His love was never based on our worthiness, but on His own nature. Grace is not just about forgiveness, it is about empowerment. When God watches over us with love, He does not just see where we fall short. He sees what we are capable of becoming. He sees beyond our failures and calls us to something greater. He is not waiting to condemn us. He is waiting to restore us. In the Bible, we are said that His kindness leads us to repentance. That means His watchfulness is not meant to make us afraid, but to draw us closer to Him, to help us see that no matter how far we have strayed, His arms are always open. There are times when we may feel undeserving of His love, moments when shame tells us that we have gone too far, that we have failed too many times. But His grace is greater than our shortcomings. His love does not have a breaking point. In the Bible, we are said that nothing can separate us from His love, neither our past mistakes, nor our fears, nor any power in heaven or on earth. That means we do not have to earn His love. We only need to receive it. To know that God watches over us with unshakable love changes everything. It means we do not have to live in fear of rejection. It means we can come to Him just as we are, knowing that we are fully known and still fully loved. It means we can walk in confidence, not because we are perfect, but because His grace is always enough. There is no pain, no struggle, no moment of suffering that goes unnoticed by God. Every tear that falls, every silent cry, every burden carried in the depths of the heart is seen by Him. In the moments when it feels like no one understands, when it seems like no one notices what you are going through, He does. He sees beyond the surface, beyond the mask that others may accept, into the very core of your soul. In the Bible, we are said that He collects every tear, that He is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. That means not a single moment of pain is wasted, not a single struggle is ignored. There are seasons in life that feel overwhelming, times when the weight of trials seems too much to bear. People may see a strong exterior, but God sees the battles fought in the silence. He knows the nights spent wrestling with doubt, the prayers whispered with trembling lips, the questions that seem to have no answers. He knows when your strength is running low, when you are just trying to hold everything together. In the Bible, we are said that He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. That means He is not just watching from a distance. He is actively present, sustaining you when you feel like you cannot go on. It is easy to believe that God is with us when everything is going well, when prayers are being answered, when life feels full of blessings. But what about when the storm comes, when the silence stretches longer than expected, when the pain does not seem to have an end? Even then, He is watching. Even then, He is working. In the Bible, we are said that though weeping may last through the night, joy comes in the morning. That means the struggles you face now are not permanent. They are seen by Him, and He has already prepared a way through them. There is something powerful about knowing that your suffering is not overlooked. When people fail to notice, when the world moves on, God remains. He does not dismiss your pain. He does not tell you to simply get over it. He is the God who sat with the broken, who wept with those who mourned, who extended His hands to those who had been cast aside. In the Bible, we are said that He is a refuge and a stronghold in times of trouble. That means you do not have to face your struggles alone. You do not have to pretend you are not hurting. You are fully seen, fully known, fully understood. And because He sees your trials, He also sees your breakthrough. Because He knows your pain, He also knows your healing. He is not only watching the hardship, He is preparing the victory. Even in the struggle, even in the silence, even in the darkest nights, He is watching, and He is moving in ways you cannot yet see. Trusting God completely is one of the greatest invitations we are given. To know that He is watching over us, not with indifference, but with love, should change the way we live. There are so many things in life that feel uncertain, decisions we have to make, paths that seem unclear, challenges that test our strength. But even in the unknown, He already knows. Even when we feel lost, He sees the way forward. In the Bible, we are said that He directs the steps of those who trust in Him, that He makes the path straight for those who acknowledge Him. That means our future is not something we have to figure out alone. There are moments when faith feels easy, when doors are opening, when prayers are being answered, when everything seems to fall into place. But trust is truly tested in the waiting. In the moments when things do not make sense, when the path ahead is covered in fog, it is in those moments that we have to remind ourselves that God's vision is greater than ours. In the Bible, we are said that His ways are higher than our ways, that His thoughts are beyond what we can understand. That means even when we cannot see what He is doing, we can be sure that He is still working for our good. Fear often tries to take the place of trust. We worry about what is coming next, about whether things will work out, about whether we are making the right choices. But worry has never added a single day to our lives. It has never solved a problem or brought peace. In the Bible, we are said that we should not be anxious about anything, but instead bring everything to God in prayer. That means trust is not about pretending there are no struggles, but about handing those struggles over to the one who already has the solution. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is let go, to stop trying to control everything, to stop striving in our own strength, to stop carrying burdens we were never meant to carry. Trust means surrender, laying down our plans and choosing to believe that His plans are better. In the Bible, we are said that He works all things together for the good of those who love Him. That means even when things do not go according to our expectations, they are still going according to His perfect plan. Living with trust means walking in confidence, not because we have all the answers, but because we know the one who does. It means stepping forward even when we cannot see the full picture, knowing that His hands are guiding us. It means resting in the truth that He has never failed and He will not start now. He sees more than we can imagine, knows more than we understand, and loves us more than we could ever comprehend. And when we truly grasp that, we can release our fears, our doubts, and our need to control and simply trust.